break with the past. Memories don't simply die down. They possess a stubborn, spectral life of their own. While generations of men perish, collective memories endure, surviving as an invisible inheritance passed down through the ages. The cultures and religions that form the bedrock of human identity persist, transmitted to succeeding generations. Yet this is a double-edged sword. The memories of historical conflicts and deeply ingrained hostilities that one people harbor against another likewise survive and persist, often ossifying into enduring prejudices and cyclical vengeance. This persistence of memory, these potent echoes of battles and wars from a distant past that reverberate into our present, generate immense and often tragic harm, fueling modern disputes with the inflammable fuel of ancient grievances. However, history also presents us with a countervailing phenomenon. In some profound cases, a complete and decisive break with past memories takes place. The past is forgotten in its entirety, its monuments standing as mute, incomprehensible riddles, and humanity takes a new start with fresh modes of thought, severing the umbilical cord to its former self. T. Consider the fate of the ancient Egyptians, whose distinctive religion and civilization lasted for almost 4 millennia, witnessing the rise and fall of empires that would come and go like shadows. But after their conquest by the Persians, then the Greeks, and finally the Romans, Egyptian civilization began to experience a slow, cultural death. The last pagan sanctuaries in the Nile Valley, such as the great temple of Isis at Philae, were forcibly closed by imperial decree in 553 AD, and Egypt was progressively transformed into a Christian country. While the heritage of the ancient Egyptians saw a ghostly continuity in some forms, their conception of the afterlife and the resonant myth of Isis and Osiris subtly infused the new religions of the region, the living, breathing world of ancient Egypt was no more. The Egyptians were intellectually and spiritually transformed by the ideas of their conquerors. This transformation was finalized with the Islamic conquests, after which Egypt became a country Muslim by faith and Arab in language. The direct descendants of the ancient Egyptians, the modern-day Coptic Christians, survive, but with their adopted religion as a minority, their pharaonic tongue preserved only as a liturgical language, a final whispered link to a forgotten world. Likewise, the Persians made a complete and dramatic departure from their majestic past following their conquest by the armies of Islam in the 7th century. The state religion of the Sasanian Empire, Zoroastrianism, with its cosmic struggle between Ahura Mazda and Angra-Mainyu, was supplanted. It is still practiced today by a very tiny community of Parsis, a fragile thread tenuously linking the grandeur of ancient Persia with the present times. But the main cultural and political trajectory of Iran was irrevocably altered. In Europe, a similar radical turn was taken. The ancient Greeks and Romans, whose pantheons of gods had defined their art, literature, and civic life for 1,000 years, abandoned their pagan past as Christianity, an Eastern religion, conquered the heart of the Roman Empire and spread north. The mighty Norse gods, Thor, Woden, Tyr, are no longer worshipped in the fjords and forests of Europe. Their memory survives only in the fossilized poetry of the weekdays, like Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, the descendants of the fierce Norsemen, the Vikings who once feared only the twilight of the gods, now predominantly worship the Christian God, though recent trends speak of a diminution of Christian faith and the rise of secularism in their Scandinavian homelands. The ancient Middle East, the veritable cradle of civilization, is studied today as part of ancient history, its great cities reduced to dusty tells excavated by archaeologists. Sumer, Akkad, Assyria, Babylonia. These were not just kingdoms but entire worlds, each with its own languages, laws, and cosmologies. In due course of time they all withered away, were conquered and reconquered, and were eventually consigned to the dustbin of history. There is no straightforward historical continuity between these civilizations of the ancient Middle East and the present times. After the upheavals of centuries, the civilizations, cultures, and religions of these regions experienced a slow decay. Or the peoples who built these great civilizations were simply overpowered and absorbed by others, more powerful or simply more numerous. It now requires a significant leap of the imagination to come to the startling revelation that the ancestors of people living in the present-day Middle East once worshipped a vibrant pantheon of pagan gods like Baal, Astarte, Ashur, Shamash, Ra, and Amun, their lives dictated by the rhythms of cults now known only to scholars. History offers many such examples of these recurring patterns of decisive departures with the past. The pre-Columbian Latin American civilizations of the Inca, Maya, and Aztec, with their breathtaking architectural achievements and complex calendrical systems, couldn't make it to modern times as living entities. The last two of these civilizations met a swift and brutal death at the hands of Spanish conquistadors, their temples torn down to build cathedrals, their codices burned, and their populations decimated by disease and sword. The Indus Valley Civilization, a contemporary of ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, with its meticulously planned cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, likewise couldn't see its continuation into the future. Its script remains undeciphered, and the reasons for its decline are still shrouded in mystery. Hence, civilizations do indeed decay and die, and their death often marks a profound point of departure, a schism in time. This is why we see change as the only constant factor in human history, a relentless current that washes away even the most formidable of human constructions. Though in some rare cases, some resilient parts of these dying civilizations do survive, like spiritual driftwood, and intermingle with the fresh ideas born in the womb of time, creating new and syncretic traditions. But herein lies the fascinating exception to the rule. Some ancient peoples, their culture, civilization, and unique worldview, through sheer luck, pure chance, or by these people's better survival abilities and cultural cohesion, do manage to survive on the slaughter bench of history. They endure conquest, assimilation, and the erosion of time to make their continuity manifest in the times ahead. Our present world, in its diversity and richness, owes much to such successful ancient ideas of the past that refuse to perish. The unbroken line of Chinese civilization, despite dynastic collapses and foreign invasions, or the continuous tradition of Judaism, surviving 2 millennia of diaspora and persecution, stand as powerful testaments to this rare but vital thread of continuity in the human story. They remind us that while the current of change is powerful, the human spirit's capacity to remember and endure is, on occasion, powerful enough to swim against it,